give an idea about what the dehydration of the body is. You see the skin, it's like a reptilian. It's warm though, not cold, but I pinch my skin and it really doesn't go back. Look at this. Now, I do have an issue with my lungs. Body dehydration also does affect kidneys because kidneys need enough blood flow through them. The kidneys do filter the blood, but the blood must be fluid enough for the kidney to work properly. And if you are dehydrated, well, the blood basically thickens up, gets more thick, more viscous if you want, so the kidneys need to work harder. So just be aware of this, and be aware if you. I'm 50 years old. My skin looks perhaps like 70. I don't know, but yeah, that's just one of the. I It all started 15 years ago with the nose, actually nostril, inside the nose surgery. They removed the turbinate. We call this turbinectomy. And the turbinates have a very major role of humidifying the lungs. So the air that goes inside the lungs must have 100% humidity. And outdoors, you have maybe 40, 50, 60. Now, these turbinates do have the role of completing the humidity inside the lungs up to 100%. And when you do turbinectomy in some persons, maybe not all of them, the turbinate simply became dry, no longer provide that very high humidity. If you want to make a comparison, just look at the dog, the nose of the dog. The tip of the nose is always wet. That's the humidity provided by the nostrils, which gets inhaled and into the lungs. The lungs need humidity in order to do that transfer CO2 oxygen between air and blood. Obviously, there's a lot of blood that goes inside the lungs. So if the lungs, because of turbinectomy, no longer get that 100% humidity, there's two things that happen. First, your CO2 O2 exchange doesn't happen properly with consequences, but also the lungs, they suffer from a lack of humidity, not enough. So the lung cells, there are small units inside the lungs. Those units will try to, I guess, enlarge themselves to provide more humidity from the blood instead of from the inhaled air. And when those alveoli get increased, basically what happens after a couple of years with this issue turbinectomy is the lungs actually start losing humidity, start wasting humidity from the blood, and that causes body dehydration. The blood loses fluid, also thickens and affects the kidneys, and especially basically the lungs, which should be preserving the humidity from the turbinates. The lungs at this point start losing, wasting, eliminating, if you want, the humidity of your body. That's when you start getting dehydrated, and this is my condition today. And also it did affect my kidneys. And I do need to drink water, and I can tell you I would drink maybe half a cup of water every hour. Otherwise, problems also because my kidneys got a kick by now. They are very sensitive to any amount of salt, and I really mean any amount of salt. I mean, I talk about salt which is already maybe in cheese. If I would eat a piece of cheese of 3 ounces, 100 grams, I need to drink more water. Any amount of salt, also any amount of sugar. I did basically completely eliminate food with any amount of salt and sugar so as to kind of give a rest to my kidneys, but still, you see what's happening. Yep, medicine, not medicine, but yeah, the medical world, sometimes, oftentimes it does heal, and other times it does wreck. And I like to compare this to maybe a lobotomy. If you remember lobotomy, at some point, medical field thought it was a great idea to kind of read Wikipedia if you want to understand what lobotomy means. It kind of cuts a part of the brain, separates basically, and finally they got the idea was not a good idea and they stopped doing it. But this turbinectomy thing, and it's a long story, check my channel if you are not aware of the empty nose syndrome or ENS, this turbinectomy thing. We don't really know how many people get adverse effects. Medical words say it's very little, and I'm really not sure about very little part. Perhaps many don't, just simply don't get reported. But turbinectomy, when it goes wrong, well, it does things to your body. And wanted to say also that turbinectomy, maybe just a last line to this video on kind of different subject. Turbinectomy, it's still done today worldwide by most ENT doctors, nose, ears, and throat doctors. It's still done because it's the only way to improve air flow through nostrils. Many people get at some point in life maybe a broken nose. They are not even aware that their nose bones have been displaced one side, and then at some point, because of that, their nostrils start get blocked, and they go to doctors, and these doctors perform turbinectomy. There are several ways to do it. Some are more damageable than others, but I think all of them are at risk. So doctors try to improve the airflow passage, the nostril width, if you want, and they cut these turbinates or damage them, or the mucosa which overlaps them. And at that moment, that's how you get to point zero in this video. Okay, thanks for watching. And check my channel, I do have full playlist with videos describing the condition and maybe some bit of help from this empty nose syndrome that follows in, I think, in quite a few persons, the turbinate reduction surgery, also call it turbinectomy.